the latest edition of Senior Showcase, the College Edition, and am honored to have a 2016 grad of Prairie Ridge, and we'll let him share where he's at now, but we've got Robin Kim. How you doing, Robin?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks for joining us. If you wouldn't mind taking a minute and just sharing what you've been up to the last 4 years and where you're at.
Okay, yeah. So after Prairie Ridge, I've been attending school at Northwestern, majoring in biomedical engineering with a minor in global health studies. And I'm set to graduate on time in a month, like June 19th. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Anything else?
That's outstanding. So I know, looking back on your junior, it was probably in your junior year, right? What were the schools that you started looking at, and kind of what went into your selection process?
Yeah. So thinking back to high school, I feel like my parents kind of had a heavy hand in where they wanted me to go to school. But I was looking at Duke and Northwestern as like my top two. And then my parents really wanted me to look at U Chicago, but I honestly had no interest. And then I think I had Champaign, UIUC in the mix, and then Washington University, St. Louis. I think those were like the big, like 5 schools that I was looking at.
Did you end up touring all 5 of those schools, or what was that?
Yeah, I toured Duke and I toured Wash U, and my brother went to Champaign, so I was like familiar enough that I didn't need to do a tour or anything.
So ultimately, what led to you choosing Northwestern?
I think what appealed to me most was the flexibility they offer in curriculum. So you apply to Northwestern and you really apply as a general student. You pick a school, but at any point you can switch schools, which is, I think, pretty unique. So you can come in and as like a psych major, like in the liberal arts school, and then just switch the engineering school. Like there's no application process or anything. So I think they just like placed a heavy emphasis on being well-rounded. So they admit like a group of well-rounded students that they would trust would succeed in any like aspect of the school. And I think that flexibility was important to me because I actually had no idea what I wanted to do coming in. And then I just ultimately settled on the engineering school. And then even then, it took me like a year to settle on a major in engineering school. But I think the structure of the school, or like lack thereof, I guess, allowed me to explore that for a while before I made a decision. I think that was important for me at the time.
Well, needless to say, I guess when you say lack thereof structure, they're assuming that the quality of student already is someone who comes in with a lot of discipline and structure in their
Yeah,
life to
exactly.
begin with. So, yeah, like you said, a lot of trust that if you're good enough to get in, then we're gonna trust you with that. So we'll get into more Northwestern, but let's go into then what's next. Where after you graduate, what's next on the agenda for you?
Yeah, so in the short term, in the fall, I'll be starting on my master's in bioengineering at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. It'll be a 1-year program with like a focus on professional development. So it's like getting the integrated engineering and business education. And I think it's aimed at like transitioning into management positions in the engineering field. I think in my 4 years, I've learned that, I'm not really cut out for like the nitty gritty of engineering. But I think I can, hopefully move into like management positions in engineering. So that's the goal there. And then in the long term, I want to eventually get my master's in public health. So I think, and like transition away from, like I said, like the nitty gritty engineering and move more into like policy or healthcare management or things like that. Because I think that's where my strengths lie. So I guess the immediate plan is to like make a little bit of money doing engineering work in the R&D sector of the healthcare technology field, and then pay my way through my master's in public health and transition into like more public health related careers, kind of at the intersection of technology and like healthcare policy. Because I think that's for all I've learned about like innovating in the healthcare technology space, I think the biggest thing that's limiting health in this country and even across the world is really just political and social structures. And I think that's where you can make the most change. I think like technology is not the issue. we can innovate so far, but it doesn't matter if we're not like able to distribute it equitably to like marginalized people and things like that. So yeah, that's where my passions lie. And I think in the long term, that's what I want to do with my career.
That's awesome. So we could envision seeing you working at maybe a think tank in DC or somewhere else like that as well.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But that's a long time down the road, so we'll see.
Wow, that's outstanding. So obviously, I am sure that when you came on campus in the fall of 2016, you're probably like, "Whoa, what have I gotten myself into?" Right? So, what was that transition like from high school to Northwestern?
Yeah, I'll be pretty honest. It was pretty brutal. Because I guess I can only speak from personal experience, but I didn't take school super seriously in high school. Like, not to like sound arrogant or anything, but I think it just kind of came easier. But then I just like really got my ass kicked at Northwestern. I think my first quarter I had a 2.5 GPA. It was just like straight C's across the board, and it was really a wake up call because I don't know, I never gotten a C and then to get straight C's, and I was kind of struggling socially. I don't think I was really ready for the college scene. But I think, yeah, part of the environment of Northwestern was kind of foreign. I think that's the first time I've experienced or I've come into contact with students from like the elite or like from elite backgrounds, like extremely wealthy students that come from like private schools in the East Coast, like top 10 high schools in America, and their families just have like old money, as people say, and like I felt like I couldn't compete in the classroom, and I was looking into transfer applications, and I honestly was just having a miserable time. But then I think as I found like community and like certain groups, I like got to be more comfortable in my own skin. And I think as I found that, I was able to find more academic success and settle in a little bit. I know like you've been asking like how Prairie Ridge has prepared me, and I think academically, Prairie Ridge did everything for me to like compete here academically. But some of the more social things, it probably couldn't have prepared me, but I think it was important for me to go through that. And yeah, I eventually got over it, and I've really settled in here, and I love it here. But yeah, the transition at first was a little rough.
So tell me about that social aspect. I mean, what were the groups or the connections or the friends that helped bridge that transition for you?
Yeah, so pretty early on into coming here, I tried out for the club baseball team. And then, yeah, I made the team, and I found some more like relatable guys that just loved baseball, and that was something we could like bond over. And then I applied to like be an orientation leader. So we have this thing called Wildcat Welcome. It's just a week-long orientation program for freshmen. So you do like months-long training sessions, and then yeah, you end up getting really close with the other peer advisors, and you host orientation for the next upcoming year. And I think just taking on a position where you're kind of a role model, even if you feel like you don't have your things figured out yet, kind of just makes you like fake it till you make it, I guess. And then I don't know, yeah, that was important for me. Just assuming that sort of confidence and like projecting that onto freshmen. I think that kind of built my own confidence in a way too, and that was really good.
Sure, that's awesome. So, so obviously, it seemed like the club baseball. I mean, let's be honest. Northwestern will have, and I don't know if it's necessarily accurate, but there's a larger percentage of students that are strictly all about academics. They like had no life in high school, right?
Yeah.
And now you're up against those kids, and I can imagine that was really daunting for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like being a big fish in a small pond, I guess, where I thought I was, all that in high school, but then I got here and I was like average, if not, I was definitely below average performance-wise academically, and that was just like a big wake-up call for me. But I think I wouldn't have done it any other way. I think that's the only way to grow, really, is to be in an environment where you're challenged. So I think that was good for me.
Now, I realize you're a humble guy, but to put it in perspective for other students, you had a number of outstanding academic honors coming out of PR. Do you mind sharing those a little bit just so people can put that in perspective? I mean,
Uh,
I know. ACT, State Scholar. There was a cup national.
that's
I mean,
merit.
yeah,
Yeah,
National Merit Award winner. Am I missing anything?
I think that was about it. Yeah, I don't know if I actually won many awards. I think I tested well, and that was big in my admissions to college.
Well,
Like I
sure,
was a good
and
testing grade.
and you did, and you were well rounded
Yeah,
and
yeah.
such. So,
Mhm.
but well, we'll get into to your high school life here later on. But let's first talk about the social part. I think people don't realize the kind of the cool scene of Evanston and how beautiful that campus is. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, hmm, I think the coolest thing about Evanston is like how integrated it is with Chicago, but it's also just removed enough where it's not like it's like right on you. It's like it's kind of a quiet town, but also you have all the aspects of a big city. So you just take the red line into the city, like 30 minutes, and then the whole city of Chicago like at your feet. That's one thing I do regret though in college is not having taken more advantage of that. Um, I didn't. I probably went to Chicago maybe like once or twice a month at most, when I feel like I should have just been going all the time. But um, so yeah, people like to go out in Chicago. There isn't much of a nightlife scene in Evanston, but makes up for it. You just take the train, go to some bars and clubs. I think last year I went to Wrigleyville. It must have been, I don't know, 100 times because it's just a 20-minute train ride away.
Even
And
with
there's all
that
the,
hat on, even with that hat on, you ventured in there. And I'm a
yeah,
fellow Sox fan, so I feel you. But
yeah, I'm a Sox fan, but Wrigleyville is a special thing too. And
sure,
it's definitely more fun of a place than, I don't know, the South Side.
yeah.
So yeah, we'd frequent those bars. There's this burrito place that my roommates and I would go at like 3 a.m. every weekend. Um,
What's the name
and
of
then
it? Give us the name of some of your favorite spots in Wrigleyville and in Evanston.
Yeah, so in Wrigleyville, it's just off the stop on Addison, El Burrito Mexicano. It's like a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it seems like it's been there for forever, and yeah, cash only. They make burritos till like I think they're open till like 4 a.m. It's honestly very very clutch after a night out. But and then in Evanston, yeah, there's this like Asian like Pan Asian restaurant that serves like all kinds of Asian food. Chinese, Korean, you name it. And it's not just popular with Asian students, it's like the most popular restaurant on campus. It's just packed all the time. It's called Joy, yeah. And that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, Evanston is great because it's right on the lake too. So even like the locals will come out onto our campus just to like walk around. And we have a huge strip, like a mile long, of just like pure lakefront that it's like the school owns and it's private land. So there's nothing developed on there. It's just like nature, trees, grass. And then there's a nice tradition where um, students will paint rocks on the shoreline with like, I don't know, their class year or some message or something, or
Mhm.
people propose there and put the date there. So yeah, I'm hoping to do that in the next month. I think it'll be a good way to cap off my college career. But
Well,
yeah,
hold on here. Hold on here. You're hoping to just do a regular message, or are you going to do a proposal on the beach? Which
oh,
one?
probably not a proposal. No, there's no in the picture right now for that. But yeah, no, I'm hoping to paint a rock and leave my mark on this campus.
That's awesome. And people don't realize. I mean, you got your own beach. You've got
Yeah,
and maybe you could share. Being an orientation leader, you could probably share some of this. Talk about how literally the lakefront was built out right from the campus there
yeah,
into
yeah,
Lake
yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah, so this stretch of land I was talking about is called the lake fill, and it's called that because it literally filled into the lake. It's man-made. I think they just like put like tons and tons of like I don't know, some rock on there, and they just built on it, and then eventually I guess just grew into a nice park area. And it's just like built into the lake, which is really cool. So yeah, you'll have like the lake on one side of you, and then there's kind of like a little inlet where the water goes in, so you can just be surrounded by water, and you're kind of like in the middle of the lake. It's pretty cool. And you can see Chicago from one end. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
no,
fun.
on a beautiful day, that's got to be an unbelievable sight. Probably hard to study walking along there, or maybe it was a great place to study. I don't know.
Yeah, no, everyone tries to study out there. There's Wi-Fi, the campus Wi-Fi reaches out there, but you don't get anything done. There's no way.
So, with that being said, where were the study spots for you? Where did you feel was best for you to kind of get away and just be able to hit the books?
Yeah, I think by junior year, I started studying exclusively in our library, the main university library, because I think that's just where all the students, or at least my friends, would like, convene, and we'd stay there till like, I don't know, ungodly hours. It closed at 3, and I think there were stretches junior year when I was there every day until it closed at 3 a.m. But yeah, I actually have good memories in the library. I know Coach Peck always used to say, learn to love the grind and embrace the grind. And I think I finally understand what that means. Because I was just in the library all the time, like every day. And I think I just came to love it. I didn't mind it anymore. And I think, seems kind of sad, but I feel like that's like the most iconic part of my college experience is just grinding in the library all night and, ordering pizza at 1 a.m. Yeah, that was kind of my college experience these past couple of years for sure.
And you guys are actually known for actually having pretty good food directly on campus. I recall you made some lists of good food. Is that true, or is that just hype?
Yeah, so the dining halls are supposedly pretty good. I've had it. I lived off it for 2 years. But I mean, hall food gets old no matter what. So,
Sure.
but then the local spots in Evanston are also, Evanston's known for its food scene. I think it has a very diverse student population, so it attracts very diverse like cuisine. So there's like Mediterranean food, Indian food, Korean food, Chinese food, Japanese food, Mexican food. There's all kinds of stuff. So like whatever you're craving, it's there, and I think that's a cool part of it. So.
And it's all either a very short Uber drive or walk away. I mean, for the most part, right?
Yeah, you can mostly just walk. So Northwestern's campus is actually pretty small.
Yep.
Um, and it's unique in that it's pretty linear. It just follows Sheridan Road.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, everything you need is just on like a 1.5 to 2 mile strip of Sheridan Road. Like all the restaurants are concentrated at the south end, and then most academic buildings for engineers at least are on the north end. And
Now,
yeah,
your first 2 years, were you in the same hall? What was the dorm life like? What were the dorms like?
yeah. So my first year, I was just in a regular hall. It was called Bob. It's notorious at Northwestern for being a huge party dorm, and I guess it showed. It was really disgusting. I feel like there was mold because I got sick for a month. I had like a cough and I couldn't shake it. I don't know what was wrong. I feel like there was something in the air there. The bathrooms were absolutely disgusting, and since it was disgusting, the students didn't treat it very well, and it was horrible. Especially on the weekends, there'd be vomit everywhere. But then they built a new dorm my sophomore year, and I was able to move into that, and it was like night and day. Like all the
Was
amenities you could ask for in a dorm.
was that a suite style or community? What
Yeah,
was
it was
that?
it's suite style. So I lived with 3 friends. We each had our own individual rooms in a suite, like 2 like bathroom setups. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. Mhm.
And then the first year was all community style.
Yeah, it was bad.
So it's safe to say that when you mentioned vomit in the Bob, that the RAs weren't very proactive in keeping alcohol out of the building.
Yeah, no, it was pretty hopeless. I think the RAs that got stationed there knew there's just no chance of stopping it. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't ask you for this because you had mentioned the nightlife, especially when everything kind of opened up to you after your junior, during your
Yeah,
junior and
yeah.
senior year. So, what were the spots in Evanston or the spots in Wrigleyville that you and your buddies would hit that were kind of North Wildcat favorites?
Yeah, so an interesting thing about Northwestern is that I guess maybe it's like the birthplace of Prohibition or something. There's some history with Prohibition and Prohibition lasted longer in Evanston than anywhere else in the country. So it's very dry. There's no bars. So as when you get to be 21, you get to be an upperclassman. You used to start Ubering and taking the train into the city. So in Wrigleyville, of course, me and my club baseball teammates, we liked sluggers because they have a batting cage upstairs. There's nothing better than taking hacks at like midnight on a weekend.
Sure.
Yeah, and then what else? We also liked Deuces. That's across the street from there. What else is down there? I guess HVAC Pub. Yeah, honestly, you just do a loop in Wrigleyville around all the bars, bar hop, and then go home. That was usually the plan for the weekend.
And club baseball. So how long were you part of club baseball?
Yeah, I was a part of it for all 4 years, and then I became president junior last year, and then I stepped down after junior year and served just as a captain this year, which is basically you get to have the title, but you don't have any of the responsibilities of the president. Yeah.
Perfect. So fill us in what club baseball life was like, where you guys went, how often you practiced, played, etc.
Yeah, so club baseball was definitely a total change from, Peck's regime in high school. But we coach ourselves, which I think is probably not a great thing because we don't really get anything done. But I think it made for a unique experience that we're all just playing for the love of the game and nothing else. But that said, we definitely could have benefited from more structured practices, stuff like that. But so we competed in the Wisconsin division, I guess. It's the Great Lakes West division. So we played UW Milwaukee, Marquette, UW-Madison, and UW-Eau Claire. So they're in our conference. We play them for a 3-game series every weekend in spring. So you play each team for a series, and then every other year you alternate between going there or they come here.
Yeah. And Eau Claire trip took a little time. That was like 6 hours.
Cool. Yeah, it's something like 5 hours. Yeah. You try to get out of that one if you can because it's pretty hard to keep up with school when you're driving 5 hours on the weekend back and forth. Yeah.
How many guys were part of the program?
So it fluctuated year to year, but I think we averaged around 25. But then just for different reasons, people going abroad or having internships, the number of active players is probably more around 17 or 18 at any given time. Yeah.
So would you guys literally, just so we kind of understand it, would you guys literally rotate everybody in throughout the whole game, or how did you guys manage that?
We had regular starters, but there were definitely weekends when guys had exams, so they couldn't come. So we would just we'd have 11 guys, and it's all hands on deck. I had to pitch a lot. It was honestly really fun.
You had to pitch a lot?
Yeah, there were times when we were really thin on our roster, so I had to pitch. Got the job done, but yeah.
I'm having flashbacks to some double headers at PR that you had to come in.
Yeah, it was honestly a similar kind of thing. It was not ideal, but I think just not that very not serious atmosphere was fun too. I miss high school and everything about high school baseball, but yeah, you can't really compare the two. This was just, I don't know, just guys having fun.
It's more like a softball league, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, it's probably in between a softball league and a very organized high school league, somewhere in between there. And I'd say the talent level or competition level is somewhere around, I guess a JV level, for us and
so you're saying PR's varsity might have beat them?
Oh, our team, yeah, our varsity team definitely would have beat our club team. Not even close. No, no one's in shape. People's UCLs are getting torn left and right. It's pretty ugly, but honestly, it's all just for fun. But I think that might be unique to Northwestern because the University of Wisconsin, they had 3 coaches, which seemed a little excessive on that end. But yeah, club baseball is just, it's a wild ride. It's a large spectrum of, teams and expectations for those teams. We didn't have any coaches, but a lot of other teams did.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I know you're in your apartment in Evanston. So tell me how the quarantine has affected you guys here your senior year. What's the process been? What are you doing?
Yeah. So we moved completely to online class. So we're also on the quarter system. So we have like trimesters basically. So our entire spring trimester quarter has been online, which has really sucked because, not just because we were, looking forward to things senior year, but I think we have to stay in school longer than everyone else. And I feel like that really takes a toll because we have like 11 weeks of school online. And I'm already so over it. I'm so done with it.
And
But
you
I
got a
have my
month. You got a month to go still.
Yeah, I still have another month of class.
Okay.
But they did Northwestern switched to pass fail. So everyone is graded pass fail, which has been nice. Yeah, because I'm kind of unmotivated, but like I don't have to try super hard to just pass my classes.
And
Um,
keep that
and then
GPA.
yeah, my GPA won't change. Yeah. My roommate is at home, so I have the apartment to myself. And I think about half of students chose to go home or stay home, and like half of the students are in Evanston in the area in their apartments. But yeah, I mean, no one's really seeing each other. You might like wave hi, like on the way back from the grocery store with your mask on. But yeah, but I think most people find like a close circle of friends, maybe like 3, 4 people. Like I have, and we just see each other, try not to see anyone else, and then just keep it, insulated like that. And I think, technically not supposed to do that, but I feel like there's no risk there. I think that's pretty safe.
Well, sure. I think that's common for a lot of the college students as they've been
Yeah,
finishing up. They've been in
yeah,
that little group.
yeah.
So have you had a chance to see your family at all during this time or not?
Yeah, I went home once briefly, and then my family came up for Mother's Day because I had like an exam the day after. So they decided to just come up to save me the time, and we had like takeout food, and it was honestly pretty nice. And we just ate in my apartment.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, why don't you describe for us your family, who's in it, their names?
Yeah, okay. So there's my mom, Jin Hee, my dad, Back, and my brother, Sean. Sean is 4 years older than I am. He graduated from University of Illinois. And he's at home right now with my parents working at Good Shepherd in Barrington.
What's
As
what's he what's he doing?
he's like I think a radiology technician, and he also doubles on the emergency room shifts or something like that. So yeah, so his job has been pretty secure with
Yeah.
even just in the pandemic because the healthcare work is pretty secure right now. And then yeah, my parents. I guess I give you the brief life story. They came from Korea when they were in their 20s and 30s. Got married, and then they lived in LA for a while, moved to Chicago, settled down here, and I've lived in like the Chicago suburbs for my whole life.
No, great. So tell me about what took you to this whole bioengineering field and such, because I think you initially, when you were going to school, you were thinking straight healthcare or medicine, right? So
Yeah,
how'd that flow go for you?
I didn't have much idea what I wanted to do, honestly. I feel like I wanted to do something in STEM because I feel like there's obviously pressure from my parents to do something in STEM, and get a good job and make money. Which I don't like hold any resentment against them, but I think I realized along the way that it wasn't really for me. I'm honestly not that great at science and math. I think I'm better at English and writing and reading and stuff like that. But I just couldn't see myself in a career where I was just doing just real, like, I don't know, like engineering, heavy technical work. So I kind of found a medium where I could, I think the biggest thing is I wanted to help people and I wanted to find fulfillment in my career and
Yeah.
not just have my career be like, my job and my 9 to 5, and something that I'm not super passionate about. So I feel like helping people was at the core of it. And I think I was already deep into my engineering curriculum, so there weren't too many options, but I pivoted to biomedical engineering because yeah, I think it's the most fulfilling career path for me in engineering if I'm going to do something technical. And the reality is the pay is decent. So I think that, I think that's important to me too. That was definitely a factor, honestly.
Internship opportunities, what have you done kind of over your summers, or has it been school, work? I mean, share a little bit about that.
So the past 2 summers, I've been doing research on campus. paid research through like a biomedical engineering research lab. So there's this faculty member, John Rogers here, who like, he's like a big deal. He's been published in like 100 journals at least. And then he has an enormous lab. He just got a huge wing in our engineering building built for him with like a brand new lab, like all brand new equipment. And he just hires like maybe like 50 undergrads to work in his lab, which is honestly like a huge scale for an engineering lab.
Yeah.
So I've just been working there over the summer. I got to be a part of some really cool projects. 2 summers ago, I worked on developing flexible wireless electronic like vital sign monitoring devices for premature babies. And it was like it was a partnership through the Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. So I learned to like solder and like assemble these devices, and then had some influence in like the packaging procedure. So how they encapsulate these flexible devices so that they don't irritate the skin of the baby, that they're flexible enough to like stay on them while they're moving around. It was honestly like really cool stuff. I think it made the news, that project did. So yeah.
That's awesome. So when you say he was published, was your research going into some stuff he was continuing to publish?
Yeah, so I've been published twice as a part of that lab. So like my name will be listed as maybe like, I don't know, the 15th or 20th name on like a list of like 30, but it's there. So it's been published in Nature Medicine, I think was that one project I just talked about. And then it was also published in Nature Communications. They're just subsidiaries of the Nature like magazine. And I got published in the second one for research I did on epidermal microfluidics. So controlling fluids on the surface of the skin, in a flexible format. So like, I think the future of, at least one part of the future in healthcare technology is like this thing called lab on a chip. So just getting rid of all this bulky like electronic equipment and moving to like formats that you can do medical diagnostics on the surface of the skin. So like I was working on like a little patch that would absorb sweat and analyze it chemically, and then give like colorimetric feedback on like the stat, like analyzing biomarkers in sweat. So like hydration and just measuring all kinds of substances in the sweat, and you can tell a lot about a health status. So yeah, just the broader mission of the lab is to move towards these very simple like flexible devices that you can place on the skin and perform very complex diagnoses. And these have like big implications in like the developing world, where you can't ship in like hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical equipment, and you have to get creative, I guess, and you can just ship out these tiny little devices, stick them on, and they'll tell you everything you need to know that all this big expensive equipment could. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
That's amazing work. Very cool.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
So you talked about, and I know this is an issue, so to get a little bit serious, I know at institutions of such high rigor as Northwestern, the Ivies, some other schools, you talked about the struggles as a freshman, and here you've got students that, like you said, dominated high school. Next thing they show up there and they're struggling. And that doesn't go without some mental issues or things that happen to students, from suicide to drug abuse to things like that.
Definitely.
I mean, how did you cope? What was kind of the internal piece? Did you reach out to people? Was there someone there? Was it just inner fortitude? What was it for you?
Yeah, I think the important thing to recognize there is that you're not the only one going through it. So, and I think for me, just finding solidarity with some of my friends who are going through similar things, like just because there are those super high achievers that still succeed in college, there's still going to be those ones that are struggling like me. And I just had to, keep reminding myself that I wasn't the only one. And that was big. I found a couple friends. I think there's one in particular who we really had like a lot in common and seemed to be going through very similar struggles. I mean, we didn't come from like these top tier like high schools in like the East Coast or something. And so I think just finding people that you can relate to and, talk about these things if you need, but, more than anything, just knowing that they're going through the same thing is comforting. And yeah, just finding that support base is important for your
Okay.
mental health.
No, great advice.
Mhm.
Now let's look back. You said that academically you felt PR did a great job in preparing you.
Mhm.
Um, tell me more about who were the faculty members or coaches or anyone that you came across that really had a huge impact on your life while you were there.
Yeah, so I really appreciate the teachers that pushed me and didn't settle for less than my best, because I think especially by junior year I got pretty jaded with school, and I just yeah, I was in a lot of AP classes. And I think I was probably just a little overwhelmed, but I was just kind of shutting down and kind of slacking off. But Miss Orsi was definitely one. I took AP Stats with her my sophomore year, and then I didn't test into BC Calculus actually, but then I found out from my pre-calc teacher that this was all behind like my back. I didn't know this was going on. She had recommended me for the class and was like, "No, there's no way he's not going to be in BC." So she was always there and always expected a lot of me, and I think that was good. And then Miss Cowitz was another one. Yeah, there's just all these stories. I think I tried to turn in an assignment once. She could tell I just do it again. I feel like that's not something she did to other students, as you know, she like maintained higher expectations for me.
Could you
And
repeat
then
that for Miss Cowitz? Because you ended up freezing just briefly, so I didn't get to hear exactly
yeah.
what you referred
Yeah, I
to
don't know
for.
if she remembers this, but I remember pretty vividly. I was like handing in an assignment that I didn't put much effort into, and she like took one look at it and was like do it again. And I don't know, it felt kind of personal. It might not have been, but I feel like she expected more of me, um, and she wasn't willing to compromise on that. I really appreciate those teachers that pushed me. And I think another one, um, Mr. Terhar. He actually pulled me aside one time because I was really slacking off in his class, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I think at the time I was actually going through some stuff like at home, and he like took the time to like talk to me about it. It's like, well, what's going on? There must be something else going on. And he's like, yeah, there's no reason, like I don't know, basically just like stay strong, put your head down, keep going, and you'll be fine. Because I think
Was
that
that
was
Nate?
that was
Was
really,
that Nate Push?
yeah, I was an A push.
Yeah.
I was yeah, junior was a lot because I think you're starting to think about like college applications. That's when you're probably doing your hardest course load. And then I was fighting for playing time on the baseball team. That was stressful too. So just a lot of things at once, and like pressure from my parents. And I think I was just kind of like shutting down mentally. And I think Mr. Terrar noticed, and he pulled me aside. I think that was a really good moment. And then of course Coach Peck. Um, I don't see him so much as a faculty member, I guess, but like yeah, just probably the most influential person from Prairie Ridge. Um, I just hear his words in my head, all the time. Just the little things he says, and I think that was definitely important for me at the beginning of college. 'Cause, I wasn't having any academic success, and I wanted to transfer. A lot of kids were just dropping out of the engineering school at the time, but I think I just kept thinking about like his messages of like mental toughness, and I think that's really what got me through that initial period. It's just put my head down, keep going, grind it out. And I think it worked out well in the end. I was able to get through it. I think mental toughness is probably the most important thing I learned in high school, more than any like classroom lesson. I think that was big. I think that was something I'll carry with me throughout me or my entire life. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's huge. On the light side, obviously, baseball players always have tons of fun stories regarding Coach Peck and Peckisms and funny moments during the season.
Mhm.
Any that really stick out for you that were really funny?
Uh, Funny ones. Yeah, I don't. I guess yeah. Crystal Lake Soft is iconic. um,
Share
yeah,
share with everyone who doesn't know where that came from and what was behind that.
I don't even know where that comes from, but it's just I don't know. Yeah, he's just I guess like critiquing our generation and like just I don't know just being lazy and complacent. We're just be dogging in the weight room. You'd be like, I don't know, we're being Crystal Lake soft. I don't even know, but I think it's just like one of his more iconic sayings. Yeah.
And any funny moment, particularly with any of your teammates or anything that happened that you recall?
In high school?
Yeah.
I don't know if it should go in the interview, but I remember exploding a couple times. I think there's one time Matt Henning, he lost a fly ball in the sun, and Peck just absolutely lost it. I think he was in summer ball, and this was before we knew him super well because we hadn't been on varsity yet, and we're like, oh my god, he was just this really scary guy. But then as you get to know him, he has all the best intentions. But Matt, who's like himself, is a pretty intimidating guy. I think was just like he was peeing his pants. He was so scared. Yeah, I think that's one of the funnier moments.
Oh man. So if you would be kind of talking to a junior or senior who's contemplating coming into college, what kind of recommendations would you have for them to kind of be prepared for that experience?
I think people tell you a lot that you have time, and you don't need to plan everything out. But I would kind of push back and say, just that doesn't mean like don't think about the future, because I think the more you do, and the more proactive you are about planning for the future, even if it doesn't work out or things change, you're able to like more easily adapt. Because I think I was just kind of going with the flow, and then at the end of college, I'm kind of like, I have a lot of regrets about like the decisions I made and like the classes I took. So just like be forward thinking. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have like your whole life ahead, like planned ahead of you, but just be forward thinking and like, be intentional about the decisions you make and like the career choices you make. I was fortunate to go to Northwestern where it's pretty flexible, but I know at other schools you have to apply directly to a school, get admission there, and then you have requirements to stay in that school. So like it's pretty rigid. But yeah, so I think in that sense, it's more important to like plan things out. Just think about the future, even if it doesn't mean making concrete plans, I guess.
Okay, great. So what are the plans for Champaign? You're saying, are you going to be enrolling? You're going to be starting there in August then?
Yeah, I think it'll be around mid-August, end of August. Looks like it's probably going to be online because I think that's where schools are moving right now. But we'll see. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared to take class from home. But I don't know how well I can focus at home, like in Crystal Lake with my my whole family there. So I might look into getting an apartment in Champaign just to be like on campus, and like make it feel like it's more of a college experience. But we'll see. That's just not it's kind of a waste of money, I guess. So, but yeah.
So at this point, you haven't planned on housing or anything as of yet?
No. I don't imagine it'll be too difficult to find housing. It's a huge school, big area. I know people who went there and they can help me out. I have like an insider's, perspective on, navigating housing. But I'm just hoping, at least by the second semester that I'll be able to, be on campus, campus will be open, especially because I only have a year there. So.
Sure. Now, I know you had mentioned the challenge and the expectations from your parents. But I also know kind of the emotions around that with your folks and kind of their work ethic and trying to make a better life for you and your brother. Tell me a little bit about what that has kind of meant to you with what they've had to go through in their lives.
Yeah. So I think as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate it more. It's definitely even, at the beginning of college, I was a little bitter about it. I feel like, they pushed me pretty hard, but I think looking back, when I didn't know any better, like I'm very appreciative now of like how hard they pushed me. Like those summers they made me spend studying, when other kids were out having fun. I feel like, that's really the reason why I'm here, at this school with the opportunity like that I have in front of me. So really I have, I can't say that I have any, anything bad to say about that. I'm just really appreciative of my parents and like people like Coach Peck who, just pushed me, because I think you need that. As a kid, you don't really know what's best for you, I think. And you need people who've been through it to like, you know, I don't know. I think for my parents too is they saw like that I had opportunities that they never had, and they just wanted me to, you know, take full advantage of it. And I can't fault them for that. So yeah, I have no hard feelings towards my parents about, you know, how they push me.
Sure. Great.
Mhm.
Now, on the lighter side, what is that thing or hidden talent that Robin Kim has that other people aren't aware of?
Hidden talent.
Or
Um,
quirky thing that you do?
yeah, I don't know how quirky it is, but I guess I do origami, which surprises some people. But I've been doing that since like, I don't know, elementary school. Actually started an origami club here on campus with a couple of my friends. That was a lot of fun. We would like make flyers. Like all other clubs would just make flyers, you know, put a piece of paper and just tape them to the wall. It's kind of boring, but our
Yeah.
flyers were on cranes on the wings. It was actually pretty cool. And then we
Yeah.
spread them all around campus. We got to do some events. We partnered with another club, and they brought like elementary school students to campus, and you know, we taught them origami. That was really cool. So we just tried to engage with like the campus community and like the surrounding community.
Do you
But
happen to
yeah,
have
that's getting.
No, that is very cool. Do you happen to have a sample in your room laying around?
I mean, I got one here. It's nothing too impressive. It's just like a flower. I made a giraffe the other day. I put it on Instagram, on my Instagram story. But yeah, no, this is nothing too special.
Hey,
Honestly, I'm not that.
that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not that good at origami. Like people assume that I'm really good at it because I started the club, but it was honestly just more of like a kind of a social thing. I thought it'd be fun for, you know, people to get together once a week and, you know, do origami.
Now,
Uh,
how many people would get together? How many were in the club?
so I started with my friends, and at first it was just like kind of a circle of friends. But then I think in the following year, it settled around maybe like 10 to 15, nothing too crazy. But yeah, starting a club I learned a lot. It was honestly a lot of work. And at times it didn't feel like it was worth it, but I have no regrets. I think I learned a lot about, you know, leadership and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds like, because I know you probably had to submit things to the university. You probably needed
Yeah.
a faculty
Getting
advisor,
funding.
right?
Yeah, getting funding and everything. Yeah.
And that, but no, very cool. So for those that are origami connoisseurs, what was the most complicated and best work that you did do?
Um, I mean, it's hard to describe. I guess we published everything we did on our Instagram page. So we launched an Instagram page. I guess I can scroll through it right now and show you. But yeah, I got some of my more artistic friends to handle this side. But here, I'll show.
Now,
Wonder how
I'll be sure to get what your
they handle.
Instagram
Yeah.
page is too, so I can
Yeah.
put that in the YouTube
Mhm.
below.
I wonder how well it'll show up on there.
Oh yeah,
So, there's
those
like
are for real?
there's Pikachu. Yeah. And these are
Oh,
like studio quality pictures, I guess, that my really artistic design oriented friend did. But there's a piece that like folds inside
wow.
out like indefinitely. And then we like had a brief thing where over the summer we would do like hashtag Gami travels. That was the name of our club. And we just like take it around. So that's in San Francisco. That's like a flamingo. Um, this is at the Bean. There's just a crane there.
Oh, that's pretty
And then
fun.
that's at the arch. There's a flower. And then we had a member from Japan. She did some origami in Tokyo and took it around. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Wow.
It was honestly like a really fun time.
Well, let me ask
So
you, was it a good place for you to meet the future Mrs. Kim?
I don't know about that. But yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, origami is good. You show off your softer side. You know, it's good. Not just like a baseball bro. You know, have multiple dimensions. I think it's good, I guess.
So I'll have to ask. I know there's no proposal, but is there a special person in your life these days?
No, there's not,
Okay.
unfortunately. No.
So anyone watching, Mr. Kim is on the market. So
Yep, for sure.
Hey, Robin, this was really a
Yeah.
pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time to share, and obviously you're an outstanding role model,
Thank
and
you.
yet you're transparent enough to share the struggles that you've gone through, and hopefully that'll
Mhm.
be a benefit to others. So
Yeah.
thank you for your time and for sharing, and look forward to see what's in store for you in the future.
No, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. I hope you guys are all doing well, staying safe. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Robin.
Clap your hands, everybody. Everybody just clap your hands. Clap your hands, everybody. Everybody just clap your hands.
Honestly, I was getting dinner with a couple of my friends, and I was just like jokingly like, we should just start an origami club, and they're like, yeah, they had never done origami before either, and they're like, let's just do it. So it honestly became less about the origami and more just like doing something together with your friends. I don't think any of us got any better at origami. We would look at YouTube tutorials, and then teach right away to the people and that showed up to our meetings, and then forget all those tutorials right after. But
Would
it was
this
honestly like,
would this be
yeah,
a
go ahead.
real organized club, or was it where you guys sat around at a sports bar in town and did it? I mean, how did that really go?
No, it was an official school recognized club, with like a faculty advisor and everything. We had funding through the school, um, so we would meet every week in like a classroom. There's like a procedure to book classrooms for your club,
Yeah.
um, and then you do a lot of it was doing publicity on social media. So we pushed really hard on Facebook and Instagram, to like engage people, and then putting little art pieces around campus. We use the library a lot as a space, so people would walk by, they'd see like some flashy piece of origami, and it would just be like a little advertisement for our club. Here's when we meet, where we meet, come through, and we meet a lot of new people that we wouldn't have met otherwise through that. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, that is. Did you get a number of baseball guys to join in?
No, never. I feel like they weren't as secure in their image. I don't know. Baseball guys were mostly like big frat stars, weren't into that kind of thing.
And I forgot to ask you about that. Northwestern has Greek life, right?
Yeah, it's actually like a pretty large presence. I think it's something or a little over 50% of students are involved in Greek life, so it's a pretty big presence on campus.
Now, is that something you ever considered or not?
I think I did initially as like a way to make friends, but not too seriously, honestly. I feel like I found friends through other outlets, and yeah, just as a piece of advice, I guess, to incoming freshmen, there's a lot of pressure that like you need to be in Greek life to like find your social niche, but I think it's a quicker way to do it, but don't feel obligated to join Greek life to find your social space. It might take a little longer, but you'll find friends regardless. There's nothing to worry about there. Yeah.
Still, man, I still love hearing your dad in the background on the videos, yelling and getting excited.
Yeah. Oh
And
my God, it's so embarrassing watching those videos. I just hear my dad yelling.
no, and I'm sorry because I don't know if you saw the one I put out, the one where you tripped over first base.
No, that was hilarious. That was good. Yeah.
Well, I knew you had a good sense of humor. I wouldn't have done it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it'll,
Mhm.
it'll, it'll be nice. And I did neglect to talk to you about the football. We started going off on other tangents, and I forgot to bring up football and basketball
Oh yeah. Yeah.
at Northwestern. So what was that like for you? I mean, was that a pretty active part, or I know sometimes it's a challenge to
Mhm.
get students out for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's pretty. Our athletic scene is pretty weak because just most of the student body doesn't care at all about sports. But I think there were brief moments where, sports really took center stage at this campus, and it made it really memorable. When we made the tournament, I think it was my sophomore year. That
Yeah,
was a huge deal.
yeah, and you
Um,
won. You beat Vandy, right?
yeah,
Or
we
did you
beat
lose to
Vandy, and
Vandy? No, you beat Vandy.
yeah, and then we were robbed by a no goaltending call against Gonzaga.
That's right.
Eventually went on, but yeah, that was really cool. I went to a lot of those games that year. The stands were actually packed for that season. And then there was that famous shot where like the full court inbound pass at the last
Yeah.
second to beat Michigan. I was at that game till halftime. Then I left to go study, and I missed it. So I never got to storm the court with everyone else. I'm pretty sad about that. And then last year we went to the Big Ten championship in football, and we all drove out to Indy. Me and my roommates got a hotel, and we, like, you know, tailgated the game a little bit, and that was a lot of fun. That was probably the highlight of, like, I don't know, my involvement in the athletic scene here. Because other than that, it was pretty dismal. We didn't really accomplish much on the football field or basketball court.
But
Outside of that.
you still got to enjoy the Big Ten competition and check it out. Even though I think
Yeah.
the Ohio State fans are probably pretty obnoxious at the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, no, but it was still a lot of fun. For as small of a school we are, we had like a decent showing there. The alumni like kicked in and they paid for all our tickets, so we got to go for free.